And that's been happening a lot. Y'all want to blame TB. Y'all want to blame Todd Bowles so bad. Y'all are just looking for a reason why this is happening. Okay, is Todd Bowles to blame for all the times that pitch was open, wide open, all those blown coverages? Is Todd Bowles to blame for the reason we can't rush with 4? And that's been happening a lot. Y'all want to blame TB. Y'all want to blame Todd Bowles so bad. Y'all are just looking for a reason why this is happening. Okay, is Todd Bowles to blame for all the times that pitch was open, wide open, all those blown coverages? Is Todd Bowles to blame for the reason we can't rush with 4?
And there you have it. We have an apologist from the great Gerald McCoy. But before I even dissect and break all of that down, I want to give you all a special thank you and welcome to this episode of AJ Turnup's Ventful Day. I'm going to be venting, but I'm going to be talking real. But as always, I need y'all to subscribe to Bucs Report, The Aftermath, with my co-host Slick. And you can do that by subscribing to the YouTube channel. You also can subscribe to Spotify, Apple Music, and iHeartRadio. We're trying to move up and do big things in the world, everybody. We're trying to get there. We're trying to make things happen. Now, this is why I wanted to talk about this. First things first, when it comes to Gerald, you know what I'm saying? Legendary player, did a lot for the Bucs. He worked with Les. He tried his best to get this whole thing going. And unfortunately, you know, he came in a time in the era when the Bucs were we had no direction. So he is an NFL player. He's played this game before. I respect him. So shout out to you, Gerald McCoy. I hear you. I understand where you're coming at from your perspective, because you do have inside information. You're there within the organization. You've probably talked to plenty of players, coaches, everything of that nature. So I get your perspective, but kindly, I disagree with you to the fullest. And here is why I disagree with you. Because last time I checked, the head coach, Gerald, his responsibility is to put his players in the right position. That's their job. Their job is to maximize the strength of the player and not just rely on the scheme. You have to know your X's and O's you got to know your Jimmys and Joes in order to execute the X's and O's. Am I right, Gerald? You can't just say that it's just the players. You should have a firsthand knowledge of that. It's not just the players. Look at the coaches that you unfortunately had to be up under during your tenure with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Raheem Morris, bad coach. Greg Schiano, a coach that didn't know what he was doing and didn't have the presence, the true leadership that he thought he had. Lovie Smith, no direction, outdated scheme because he didn't have the players to do so. Mike Smith, then you had the Dirk Cutter era. So this is why I don't understand how you can say with a straight face that Bowles isn't the problem when there's so much evidence during his years as the head coach, Gerald, that he doesn't do it right. Cushion coverage has been his Achilles heel ever since that he has been the defensive coordinator for the Bucs. His infamous moment where I knew he was who he was is when 2021 we played the Rams. Cooper Kupp, the number one receiver that year. What do? We do an all-out blitz. Yeah, let's not slow his momentum down by jamming or pressing him. Let's not double Cooper Kupp. Let's put him at the mercy of a second-year safety in Antoine Winfield. And that was the ball game. Now, was that completely Bowles' fault that we lost? No. I stand behind this. If Wirth is not injured and if Von Miller is not on that Rams team, the Bucs would have been back-to-back Super Bowl champions. But Bowles' decision did play a big part. And here we are. We're fast-forwarding it years later. You can't tell me with a straight face, Gerald, that the Bucs have gotten better on defense because the numbers, the math isn't mathing. Now, if you want to blame the players, last time I checked, Gerald, didn't they handpick these players? They made these decisions. Jason Light and Todd Bowles. So that actually contradicts your statement. They knew what they were getting into this offseason before even doing anything. So why didn't they address certain situations? Why didn't they do that? That's a front office and coaching issue, not a player's issue. This is what I'm trying to get to understand. Now, I know you probably won't see this, but I'm going to put this out here because I have questions. And I've really been trying to ask you on Twitter. You check my TikTok out, y'all, AJ_turnup. And that's my Twitter name as well. I have questions for someone who played defensive tackle and you know what it is what it can mean without having a pass rush. Why would you put your secondary out there at the mercy of that scheme? It makes no sense, Gerald. And it's not just this game. We've been seeing this entire season. You don't believe me? You know I got the receipts for you. So let's check it out.
Rams jump the ball, 3rd and 18. Stafford, sideline, Nakua.
Now, I know you're going to want to, you would break down what Zion was supposed to do. I know you'll go into what he missed. But my point to you is, though, if we have seen this over and over and over, why do it? Why do that, Gerald? Why not take the risk of playing something very simple? In my personal opinion, Todd Bowles' scheme is way too complex. I don't like when he plays the cover 6. And trust me, I know what the cover 6 and how that runs. For a lot of people out there, Gerald, they don't know, but I do. For you people out there who don't understand the cover 6, you got one corner up playing certain man on one side, and then you have the other corner playing back and falling back into deep coverage. The cover 6 is a combination of the cover 4, cover 2. So one side is more aggressive and the other is to watch the pass. You also have your linebackers watching the curls and then other side watch the flats, and the middle linebacker drops back into certain coverage. So I'm very aware of how certain schemes work. But the issue that I have, Gerald, is that we are very aware that this Bucs team in defense, they don't thrive on zone coverages. Zone is a very complex thing to play. And if you don't have the players to do that, why not keep it simple? Why not keep it simple, Gerald? Why shouldn't Bowles keep it simple? Man coverage is literally just the guy in front of you. When you play zone, you know the corners got to keep their eyes on the quarterback. That's the most important job. Meanwhile, you also have to be able to watch the receiver, and you don't know his route. That's the one thing that the offense definitely has a major advantage over. They know where the ball is going. You don't. You have to not only anticipate the quarterback's eyes, you got to anticipate where the receiver's going. And you mean to tell me that's not much harder than playing simple man? If you get beat, you get beat. It happens. And for you, Gerald, and for anybody else out there, if anybody thinks that there's a coverage that you're not going to get beat in, I'm going to tell you right now, stick to Madden. Stick to playing Madden. No matter what scheme you have, it's beatable. However, you also have to evaluate what suits your players. Zion, Dean, Morrison, they are better built for man coverage. They have taller, linkier bodies. They can jam. Jamming, ladies and gentlemen, again, for people out there, Gerald, you know this, other people who are literally Bowles apologists right now. Jamming wide receivers is not about full dominance. It's just the one simple thing. You're disrupting timing. When you disrupt timing, and especially if the quarterback doesn't have, if he's not really good at his progressions, you have literally, all it takes is that one extra second. And he can either throw a pick, take a sack, or an incomplete pass. That game when we were playing against the Falcons, Kirk Cousins is a statue quarterback. And but the most important thing, he's a veteran. Why would you have a veteran quarterback give him that kind of ample time? Why do that? When you clearly see that when you put when you're aggressive and in his face, he gets rattled. So, Gerald, this is why I have these questions. Why on 3rd and 28 are we way back here? This is literally Bowles when it's third down.
Probably will be for life.
You see how far back he goes? And that's not even, damn near not even an exaggeration. I mean, what are we doing here? This is third and 28. Why? No, this is the 4th and 14, but why is he so far back when this is a game where all they need to do is get in field goal range and the game is over? How about you make them earn every yard? Why do that? Now, I'm going to tell you what should have happened. This is the scheme that I would have done. I would have had each corner jam to disrupt the timing. This linebacker blitzes through the B gap to get to at least have Kirk anticipate some type of pressure, which might cause him to hesitate or get the ball out faster so he cannot complete this 4th down. I'm going to have Winfield cover this side of the ball of the field just in case if Builder's jam gets beat, Winfield can pick him up. Or the linebacker, let's say if he tries to run a post or something and run a deep post or run through the seam, this linebacker right here in the middle would have been able to handle it. Then the corner Dean on the far side, I'm not giving him 7-8 yards. I'm only going to give him 5. Again, all they need to do is get into field goal range and the game is over. The mentality Bowles brings to this game is that he doesn't want to get beat or they were going to go for a touchdown. When you play to not lose, Bowles, we lose. And that's the problem. I totally disagree with Gerald when he said that this was the perfect scheme. No, this is a better scheme. This is a better scheme, McCoy. You just complained about us not being able to get to the quarterback with a 4-man rush. So why not blitz? Why not be aggressive? You see how that's kind of contradicting your statements? You can't put this all on the players, Gerald, when they chose these people. And you mean to tell me that this defensive guru head coach doesn't know how to adjust and adapt early? That's the problem right there. When Todd Bowles does adjust, typically it's too late. Prime example, look how flat we came out against the Eagles this September. Yeah, we had a hell of a second half, but the damage was done. And of course, special teams was a disaster, which the special teams coach should have been fired already. So I just don't understand where you're going with this. NFL schemes against Bowles, and that's why every crucial game determined to play, offensive player is always open. Yeah, because when you play zone, there's going to be a spot that's going to be exposed. That's the weakness of zone. And the other problem is inability to get pressure with 4. I just said that, so why not blitz? The idea is to defend the sticks. At this point, there's no need to defend the sticks at this point, JT. The idea should have been to disrupt the timing to get to Kirk Cousins so he cannot complete a pass. Remember, all they need to do is get into field goal range. How about we keep them from even trying to get to that? They were not trying to go for a touchdown. All they wanted to do is get in that field goal range. And that's where being aggressive, you have to be in this era of football, something that he does not do. I'm just really tired of the excuses that people are breaking. Look, if you want facts, because I think there's too many people out here who thrive, who live off analytics and not true football. Yes, football is about analytics, but football, to the base of its core, is about matchups. A scheme don't mean a damn thing if you don't have the player to produce it. You got to know your matchups. Kirk Cousins doesn't need a certain, you need to blitz him. An extra body, he is going to hesitate. What happened anytime we sent an extra body, he hesitated. Even if they picked up the blitz, he, for the most part, was rapid. So why give him the opportunity to make a completion? That makes no sense. It's fourth down. Stop them from getting to the marker, and it's game over. And look how that, and Olsen, how'd that work out for us? How'd that work out? Again, if you jam, if Vilder jams like he's supposed to, let's say again, he gets beat. You got Antoine Winfield right there. You got Antoine Winfield right there. And for the Bijan Robinson excuse, Antoine Winfield would have been able to get there in time, or the linebacker would have been able to get there in time. It's no excuse to give people that kind of space. In terms of matchup, I would imagine Bowles was trying to avoid leaving a linebacker on Pitts or Robinson. The logic makes sense. It doesn't make sense, because if that's the case, then why would you give Pitts or any other receiver that kind of cushion? There's no reason to give them any type of cushion. You want to disrupt the timing. Anytime we disrupt the timing, we would have been able to get there. I just think that Bowles plays scared. He has more faith than in the other team than his own players, and that's piss poor coaching. You want to know how I know, Olsen? The Panthers are not a more talented team than the Bucs. They're being coached better because Canales is making them believe. When you can make your team believe, they can be a mediocre team, but they can play out of their minds for their coach. Bowles does not instill that. Look at the frustration Mike Evans had. Look at the frustration that we saw between Vita Vea, Hassan Reddick, and Antoine Winfield. That looks like a team that is sick of the bullshit. Levante David losing to the Saints, leaves the locker room early. That shows frustration. That means that this team is getting sick and tired of the nonsense. And Gerald, you can only blame the players for so much, because, again, Jason Light and Bowles agreed to these players. And when you seen that Hassan wasn't panning out as much as you anticipated, why not take a risk and go get a player before the trade deadline? Remember, this is more than likely Levante's last year. We don't know what Evans is going to do. So why not go all out? Other teams have done it and they've gotten better. Dallas, they pulled the trigger and gave Parsons away. They're slowly going to get better. Ben Johnson with the Bears, they've gotten better. Liam Cohen with the Jaguars, they've gotten better. The Bucs have regressed, not due to the ineffectiveness of the players, but the ineffectiveness of changing the scheme. You talk about Gerald McCoy. You were talking about Pitts getting open in the middle. Okay, why was there a lot of space there? Why wasn't he doubled? Why wasn't he bracketed enough? Why could he just run simply across the field with ease? Crossing routes, things of that nature. Why was he that wide open? That's not a player inability. That's a scheme inability. Why not double Pitts? They didn't have Drake London out there. As you can see, their other receivers were not that good. But again, the secret to beating Bowles is out there. You beat Bowles' defense with time. That's all it is. It's let's march down the field. And you know what? Even if we only walk away with 3 points, our defense is going to be able to be aggressive against this offense because, again, Grizzard still doesn't know what he's doing. So now we'll get a 3 and out, or we'll only be off there. Our defense will only be off the field for like 2-3 minutes. Now they have to get back out there. And that's how they give up the big plays, because these players are getting tired. With the Bucs, the Bulls defense is death by 1,000 cuts. That's all it is. And you're talking about ineffectiveness of players as a factor. Guys like Levante have all regressed this year. Well, Levante's on his last leg, but Zion has regressed due to coverages. So again, I'm going to show you this, Olsen, and how can you defend this? I really want to hear this because I just find it funny. So let's take a look again.
Rams jump the ball, 3rd and 18. Stafford, sideline, Nakua.
That's 3rd and 18. Why is he so far off? Why is he so far off? He should have been trying to fight Nakua on the line of scrimmage. You have to understand that, Olsen. You have to understand that, bro. That's a coaching situation. Why every time on 3rd and 18, he's giving them a mile? That makes no sense, especially when we've seen it over and over. I got more for you.
Rush is coming. They handle it. Allen throws, and it's popped in the air. But is it a clean?
3rd and 11. Why are we always giving them space? I have the evidence to support these things. I don't understand. And then this video right here, for everybody else out there, Gerald McCoy, people like Joe Bucks, Pewter Report, Ira, no disrespect to any of them, and I'm not calling nobody out, but I'm going to show this video because I feel like this is a very underappreciated video and no one has been to truly answer these questions. I want to show the difference between zone and man and when we do and how we perform. And again, Gerald McCoy, anybody else out there, Shannon Sharp, Ocho, anybody, NFL, ESPN, whoever, challenge me on this, please. Because again, nobody has yet to truly say that I'm wrong when I show this.
Rushing 4, it's McCaffrey. He's got the first down. Well, of course, a year ago it was McCaffrey who was hurt. 3rd and 8. And Jones in trouble, not there.
We played man on the second one, and look what happened. Hell, if you go back to the first play on that, McCaffrey wasn't the only one open. 83 on the 49ers was wide open. They had 2 people open, and he had time. So, again, I ask anyone out there, what say you from what I just shown you? I just gave you clear evidence that man works far better than zone. And it's funny, the same people will say, well, they've gotten beaten in man before. And well, look at what happened to Zion. He gets beat. The person that beat Zion McCullum really bad man is a guy named Devontae Adams, possible Hall of Famer. And again, no scheme is perfect. However, how is it that you can say with a straight face that man doesn't work that much, but half the time, most of the time when I show you, man works. It does. If we put more emphasis on playing man the way that we put emphasis on playing zone, you can't even tell me that man would be a disaster because we don't do it enough. And again, you're going to get beat sometimes on man. It happens. However, that one player that made that mistake can always redeem himself. He gets back out there and he knows, okay, this is what he does that makes him weak. This receiver does this. This receiver does that. So I'm going to do this time. And I'm going to make a difference. But you can't do that if you get beat one time and you get scared. Bowles is playing scared ball. And this is why I don't think that he's fit to be here. Bruce Arians is the kind of mentality that this Bucs team needs. Remember, it's not a coincidence that both times in the Buccaneers franchise When we win Super Bowls, we have an offensive-minded, aggressive coach who is aggressive not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side. John Gruden challenged this Bucs defense, one of the greatest defenses of all time, to get 9 scoring touchdowns. What did the Bucs finish with? 9 scoring touchdowns. Offense got better too, but it was mostly because we were aggressive. Bruce Arians brings in Brady. We were aggressive, not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side. We had tenacity. We had anger. We played with animosity. We played like we wanted to win it. And you got people out here saying, well, AJ, Bo's got us NFC South. So you do realize when we went under Brady, we were not the NFC South champions. Brady said, damn that. We bigger than that. We want to win it all. So if you settle for mediocrity, that's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get. And again, Olsen, you're not getting it. Maybe they can't do it. Maybe they're not perfecting it because they can't do it. That's like getting mad at me for not perfecting a jump ball when I'm going up against a damn 6'2" corner when I'm 5'7". You see how that makes no sense? You see where that someone would go, well, coach, why don't you give AJ a shorter pass or have him run a slant instead of just doing a go route, jump 50 ball? That makes no sense. You see the logic behind that? And this is the problem right here. Too many analytical people are out there talking about it, but ain't never stepped a day in their life on the football field. It's a little different. Analytics don't mean shit if you can't get out there and do it. You could have the perfect play, but if your player can't execute it, it won't mean a damn thing. So if you base everything off analytics, that's how history is taken from you. I bet you Pete Carroll wish he would have never called that throw when he had beast mode, who had just carried someone 2-3 yards prior play before that. If you base everything off of analytics, you're a fool. You have to know when to be aggressive. And the most important thing, use your damn common sense and your football eyes and your football experience. Bowles was given that Buccaneers job. He should have had to earn it. Quite frankly, I didn't see anybody else out there really after Arians stepped down that was looking to hire him. Now, I get it. They kept Bowles in there because he was a part of the mentality and the changing culture for the Bucs. However, there's a lot of things to go with that, because I can tell you this. Let's go to 2022. Pass defense was 9th. Run defense was 15th. That's cool. You still had a little thing. But remember, Shaq Barrett was still good. We still had pieces. What happened when those pieces started getting old? 2023, Bucs rush defense was 5th. Pass defense was 27th. Overall, Bucs defense was 23rd. 344.2 yards per game. 2024, rush defense was 3rd. Pass defense, 29th. Total defense overall, 19th. 2025, we're 25th in the NFL, 8th against the rush, but 29th against the pass. I thought he was supposed to be a defensive guru. I thought he was supposed to elevate and maximize people's potentials. So can we just be real and say that the offense has bailed this team out? And now that the offense can't always do that due to the injuries on the offensive line, the most important part of the offense, now we want to blame Baker Mayfield. Now we want to give him the woes despite what he was doing. Are we for real right now? This is a defensive-minded coach. How the hell is the defense doing worse? You see how ass backwards that is? That's a coaching situation, Gerald McCoy. That's a coaching situation for you Bowles apologists out there. Are you serious right now? We have to understand that it's okay to call people out. I don't know Bowles as a person. I'm dictating about his actions and his performances on the field. I don't see the passion. I don't see the fire. I don't see the urgency. I don't see the desire to be great. Arians, I saw it. Bowles, I don't give a shit about what he does behind the scenes. That's gravy, but obviously it's not replicating and reciprocating in the games. Too many games we've come out flat. That's a coaching issue. Now, when it comes, again, I have plenty of evidence to show that I'm not crazy. This is his habits. Every season he's been coached. We start out solid the first few games, then the midseason slump happens. That's a bold situation, and we've had different players. And for people out there who want to blame Baker Mayfield, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If there was no Baker Mayfield on this Bucs team, we would be the New York Jets when Todd Bowles was the coach there. Had potential, but no direction. And we're trying to shit on Baker Mayfield. Are we serious? This is the same Baker Mayfield that does things like this.
Rams jump the ball.
The thing is, a lot of you people out there are forgetting that Baker can't do what he was doing the first few weeks. He was being great despite what we were going through. Do you really think he can sustain that level throughout 17 games? You're out of your mind. That's not how football works. And it's not just Bowles. Grizzard he doesn't know what he's doing. And for people out there who want to blame Baker Mayfield, I ask you this. What is the Bucs' identity? I'm going to give you 5 seconds. I can tell you, most people, you don't know. You know why? Because we don't have an identity. Even bad teams have identities. That's a dangerous disaster when you don't have an identity. With Liam Cohen, we ran the ball. We used that to set up the short passes. We disguised plays. We weren't predictable. Now, granted, yes, our line was far healthier, but no excuse because Grizzard doesn't even play into our advantages. Gedeke and worse. The outside is your friend. What does he do? He keeps Baker in the pocket. Baker, one, is a 6'1" guy. He can't see like that. And second, our interior offensive line is weak. We don't have Cody in there. We don't have Bredesen right now. So what have most defenses done? They've blown up the middle. So why not institute more rollouts and bootlegs? Especially that's where Baker is he plays elite at that. He's a gunslinger as well, ladies and gentlemen. So you're going to have to live with the turnovers. Mind you, he's cut that shit in half this season. So what's your excuse? Where is everything that Grizzard does is predictable. Do you know how many times that I'm in the comfort of my home or at a bar and I know we're going to do an HB dive up the B gap or A gap? You know how many times when we do an HB draw, I know it's going to go right up the A or B gap? That's not maximizing your potential. Sean Tucker does wonders running through the C and D gap. Why not do that? Why not continue to have both running backs on the field in a 22 personnel that can confuse the hell out of these guys? Because then you don't know where to go. When the run game is going well, Grizzard, why do you stray away from it? When it's 3rd and 2, why are you doing verticals? Where are the crossing routes? Why are you not running mesh? Why aren't you utilizing your pieces? If you go back to the Falcons game, Devin Cope scored a touchdown. Now, if anybody out there who's new don't know, I've been talking about getting the tight ends and especially Cope involved months ago. You see what happens when you get everyone involved? That game against the Falcons, McMillan came back, was nice. Why didn't you run a 10 or 11 man personnel? Why didn't you use the pass to set up the run? If they were going to blitz up the middle like they did, why didn't you have Cope or anybody run up the seam? Slants. You got to take what the defense gives you too. With Mike Evans out there, you should have established 6 plays for Evans. And you have to you got to be a chess player. If they're going to play off of Evans, you either have him do a comeback, a hitch, or a curl. If they're going to play up on him and they have no safety help, you bomb it and take the shot. If they do start to double him, now you have him as a decoy, and you have Tez or a Mecca on one side, and they either run a post, they run an out route, or they do a dig. You have to know how to get these players involved, Grizzard. And the simple fact that I've had this imagination shows me that you need to do more with your resources. And that's what gets me frustrated, because I know people out there. Look, I'm not saying that I'm better than Bowles nor Grizzard, but I damn sure know a lot too. And also, I'm in the outside looking in. I can only imagine. I would have loved just give me an off season, 60 days with this offense. And I believe I'd have it humming a lot better than Grizzard, because you got to be a situational person. Grizzard, I don't see that. You have no urgency. In certain situations, you need to speed the game up more to keep the Bucs, to keep the defense off their toes. Keep them going, oh shit, we don't know what to do. And you need to establish at least 6 plays where you go, okay, when we are speeding up the game, this is what we're going to do. On those 4 critical downs or the 3rd critical downs, you should have 10 plays already on what to do. And again, you have to take what the defense gives you. If they're going to play zone and give you cushion, dink and dunk your way if you need to get rhythm. If they're going to play up, you take the deep shot. This is what I'm trying to explain for people out there who want to blame Baker. Oh, Baker don't do this and Baker don't do that. You do realize there's a reason why offensive coordinator position exists. If that were not the case, if it wasn't their responsibility, every quarterback would just run the offense the way that they want to. That's not how football works. There's a reason why the offensive coordinator position exists. So again, yes, it has been. And Baker has been good. So this is where I don't understand the logic behind this. Define not being good. And again, I ask you, anybody out there, not just Olsen, because this is not a personal attack at Olsen. Always enjoy him. Puts out great content, everybody. So go check him out. Check him out, y'all. He know his shit. However, for people out there, Baker's line has been shifty. Baker hasn't had the time. Baker gets hit. They don't call the right plays. Again, why are you keeping a 6'1" guy in the pocket knowing we have a weak interior offensive line? That makes no sense. Why not play to his strength? Why not have him run out? I didn't say Baker is perfect, but I just told you he's a gunslinger. It comes with the territory. He's going to try to make something out of nothing. The only knock that I have on Baker is if the play isn't there, don't try to just extend in the pocket. Take the fuck off. Take off. That's all you got to do, Baker. I'm talking to you at this point, Baker. If it isn't there, take off or throw it away or look at your check down. Do something in that aspect. But for everybody else out there that's hating on him, you out your minds. If Baker is not on this Bucs team, we're about 2 and I'd say we'd be a 2-win team right now. And again, without Baker, where do you think Bowles would have been? Like I told you, we would have been the New York Jets, be the Tampa Bay Jets if Baker's not here. This offense, ever since Baker has gotten here, has bailed this team out. So now that they finally can't do it because teams adjusted, which I don't think a lot of people understand, teams adjust. They adjusted to our offense. They said, okay, we're going to double Emeka. We're going to play man on him. We're going to play a lot of man on Sterling Shepard and other receivers and make them beat us that way. You guys really thought that Baker was going to be able to sustain that? Come on now. And we just got our look. We're only 60% healthy now. So now when these next few the last game, if the Bucs offense don't put up 30+ points, we're done. And that's a coaching situation on Bowles. Here's why. He's the head coach. Everything's going to fall in his lap. He knew what he signed up for, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the great. So far, we've just been bad and ugly. And that's an indictment on Bowles. That's an indictment on Grizzard. Again, it's not a coincidence that every time that we were good, our offensive coaches got positions. When's the last time you seen anybody on the Bucs defense getting that call? I rest my case. And again, I want to show this video because, again, people cannot have yet to really challenge it. So I want to show you this again.
Rushing for, it's McCaffrey. He's got the first down. Well, of course, a year ago it was McCaffrey who was hurt. 3rd and 8. And Jones in trouble, not there.
Nobody has yet to truly be able to debunk my statement about the Bucs in that coverage. So again, I'm just tired of the excuses. I really am. This team, it's not about a player issue. It's about a coaching issue. Like I said, Mike Evans cursing on 3rd and 28, and he had every right to. So, Gerald, I don't understand this. I'm literally just asking really simple questions. I'm not here to take a shot at you. I really do have questions. How are you going to blame the players when we know that this same scheme has constantly been the Achilles heel of it? Why does he not refuse to change his ways? The Panthers are a very beatable team. They're not better than the Bucs. They're just playing better, but overall the Bucs have more talent. It's very simple. They can't contain all of our receivers, so the Bucs need to get that spread going. And then on defense, you play man. Bryce Young is the same thing. Bryce Young can't sit in the pocket because he's too short. Put pressure on him. That means you got to stay aggressive. He can run. He can run, but you want to put him in a position where he has to run too much. So what are you guys going to do? I just had to go in there and get that ran off because, like I said, I gave you the stats. 2023, rush defense was 5th, pass defense 27th, overall defense 23rd. 2024, rush defense was 3rd, pass defense 29th, total defense 19th. 2025, this year, 25th overall right now, 8th against stopping the run, 29th against the pass. So what does that tell you? You can't just blame the players for that. You mean all these years and it hasn't gotten better? That's a coaching issue. So I want to see where y'all stand on it. I mean, you can say what you want. Again, no player is perfect, because if that's the case, then we need to talk about Bridgewater putting McMillan in harm's way in the preseason. But it is what it is after that point. And again, Olsen, we can always talk about how maybe a lot of our DBs get hurt because everybody's running 8 to 7 yards to hit somebody when they should be closer. So again, I think you got to really open your eyes more and stop being so one-dimensional and just blaming it on one situation and look at it from a football perspective. Other teams is getting it right. I bet you Pitts won't have 3 touchdowns and 100 and something yards whoever they play next. I bet you that. I bet you they're good. Every time the Bucs do something, they go, okay, let's just not do what the Bucs did, and they win. It was. The defense was not 7th. The defense in 2023 was not 7th, Olsen. They were 5th against the run and 27th against the pass defense. The defense was not 7th. The Bucs defense was definitely not 7th, sir. I'm so sorry. I don't know where you got that from, but I looked at these stats and I looked it up. Rush defense, they were 5th. Pass defense, they were 27th. And offensively, yes, they were 20th. You know why the Bucs offense was 20th? Because we were dead last in the run game. And again, if it wasn't for Baker, we wouldn't be where we were. So answer that question. Nobody can truly answer that question. If Baker's not in this Bucs organization, do y'all think we would have won the NFC South that y'all clearly love to covet so much? I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it at that. But I really do appreciate the audience and everybody out there. Like I said, Bucs Report the Aftermath with my co-host Slick. YouTube, subscribe there. Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio. We are fans of the game of football. Football, I love it, no matter who's playing. Then I'm a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm going to give it to you from a football perspective, not just a biased Bucs fan. Absolutely not, because we're not. 7 points allowed. Okay, overall, Olsen, we were 23rd. That's not good. It's not good, especially when you're supposed to be a defensive-minded person. But again, I want to thank you all for joining and viewing. Like I said, Bucs Report the Aftermath. We're here to give you the real, the good, bad, ugly. We criticize and praise. Now, again, other networks like Joe Bucks Fan, Pewter Report, Ira Kaufman, and them, go check them out too. But we are here to just talk true football. I'm not putting anybody else out there because I know everybody's got a relationship thing. You got to work. Everybody can't say what we want. That's why you need to come to Bucs Report the Aftermath. We're going to say what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you're knowing, because everybody out there is not slow. Same here, Olsen. You're the same guy who explained to me that Gedeke was going to be that man, and I didn't believe you. So I always give Olsen props for that, guys. Icewater Olsen, check him out. One thing you do know is your offensive lineman, bro. So rock on for that, my man. I'm with you on that. Everybody, he has really good articles. So check him out. Check him out. That's what makes football beautiful. We can look at it the same game, but get different perspectives. So I appreciate everybody's time today. We'll be back on tomorrow for the Aftermath with Coach Slick, but I just had to get that out there because with the Gerald McCoy situation, which you said, Gerald, I hear you, but thank you. I hear you, Gerald, but in this situation, you wrong, bro. And if you want Gerald McCoy, you're more than welcome to get on Bucs Report the Aftermath. Come on through, man. We'd love to have you out there. Let's talk football. Let's come in here and just talk football, not even just Bucs ball, but football. So please, for everybody else out there, if you want to hear me get out there and cook people on who think they didn't know ball more than me, go check my TikTok channel out, AJ_Turnup. The same for Twitter. Y'all take care of yourselves. You know, right now it's hard to say it, but I'm still going to do it because through better or for worse, they still my team. Go Bucs.